I can only imagine how much Braden Smith turned down in NIL.
There are rumors of multiple million.
Why are Braden Smith and TKR working out for the Pacers?
You know, people in comments saying, oh, they should fire Matt Payne. But what are you hoping for?
Let's look ahead to the 2026 IHSAA Baseball State Finals.
31-1, 31 straight wins.
Correct.
They're hot. They got no hit, and they won 1-0. Not everyone is going to go on to the big leagues, so this is their major league moment.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for tuning in to the Get Indiana Podcast Network. My name is Dominic Miranda, and I've been covering sports for nearly a decade, most of which right here in Indianapolis. This is the Get In Sports Podcast. We're going to be covering everything in the Hoosier State, high school, college, pro, in the sports capital of the universe, in the greatest state on planet Earth. Thanks so much for coming on this journey with us. Let's get into it. On today's episode of Get In Sports, we're talking the Indiana Fever. There's been a lot of noise from the outside. Are the Fever okay? Is there drama within the locker room? No. The answer is a resounding no. It's about the play on the floor, and the Fever have a bit of a win streak here at the time of this recording. Number 2, the New York Knicks, after years and years and years, are champions of the NBA, much to the chagrin of Pacers fans everywhere. I don't think you could have scripted a worse year for the Indiana Pacers. It's all pain right now, but the redemption arc, it is possible in the year 2026, 2027. We'll break down the NBA Finals and what it means for the Indiana Pacers. How about IHSAA softball wrapping up state championships over the weekend? We push ahead to IHSAA baseball coming up quick, fast, and in a hurry. And how about the Team USA, men's national team? Absolutely resounding opening win in the World Cup over Paraguay. Everyone in the nation needed that. We all knew it was possible, but here we are. This is Get In Sports. It's going to be a fun episode. Summer is in full swing, and we'll, of course, start with the Indiana Fever. Hot, hot, hot. You know what I find interesting is when I'm having a meal with my wife, we'll be in a discussion for like 5 minutes, and my meal will be completely finished, and she has barely had a bite. She likes to play with her food, and I don't quite understand it, but that's exactly what the Indiana Fever have been doing of late. Now, winning is the name of the game, and the Fever continue to find ways to win. However, they blew a 12-point lead against the New York Liberty. They blew a however many point lead against the Washington Mystics, 14, I think. A 19-point lead against the Chicago Sky. The Chicago Sky came in with 4 wins at that game. The Connecticut Sun have 2 wins, and the Fever needed 11 straight points out of Sophie Cunningham to win that basketball game. But what's the common denominator? They've won 4 of their last 5 at the time of this recording, and 2 very good opportunities this week as well to get wins for the Indiana Fever, who seem to be finding their stride. Look, there's something to be said about winning even when you don't play your best, even when it's ugly, even when the opponent maybe you are playing down to your opponent, but if one thing remains consistent, and that is winning, that's all that matters. So, yes, questionable means to desirable ends for the Indiana Fever. You don't like blowing a 12-point lead, a 14-point lead, a 19-point lead, and needing 11 straight points by Sophie Cunningham to win a game. Not exactly how you draw it up, but winning 4 of your last 5, proof is in the pudding right there. And I do think learning how to win down the stretch, maybe when you do have a lead, you blow it. I mean, would the San Antonio Spurs like to take some notes from the Indiana Fever? Probably, and maybe they would be NBA champions right now. But the Indiana Fever like to play with their food, need to figure out, identify the issue. Why are we blowing these big leads? Why do we enjoy playing with our food? You know, going into OT against the Chicago Sky and then winning by 10 on the road against the Connecticut Sun, 2 teams with a combined 6 wins at the times of those basketball games. Not exactly what you like to see. But again, I can talk till I'm blue in the face about how you win. It's about winning, and the Fever continued to do that. And I would also like to say the big 3 are doing exactly what the big 3 need to be doing. All 3 averaging about 20 points. Kelsey Mitchell just a little shy. I witnessed Aliyah Boston have one of her best games against the Chicago Sky. It was a fantastic watch. 34 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 50% from the field, finishing down low, contested rebounds, finishing through contact. She was just possessed during that game, and it was so impressive to watch because I truly believe Aliyah Boston is one of, if not the best big in the WNBA. There's no question about that. Her and Caitlin Clark even said after the game they have this little telepathy going on. I mean, it's year 3 for Caitlin Clark. Aliyah Boston, now you can consider a vet, and she's just getting better and better and better. She's taking and making more three-pointers. If she adds that to her arsenal, again, one of the best bigs in the WNBA. For Caitlin Clark, against the Sky, 32 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. Against the Sun, 25 points, 5 assists, 50% from beyond the arc. Look, not great teams, but if you can get your stride here, win these basketball games, get everybody stop talking about what's going on off the court, talking about what's going on the court, I like where the Fever are at, Will.
I agree. One of the big things that I've thought about is, to your credit, talking about, do the Fever have these problems off the court? Are they still struggling on the court? All that gets put to rest when you continue to win basketball games. And it doesn't matter how you win them. If you see a W on the stat sheet, that's all people are going to care about. Caitlin Clark's been amazing. Aliyah Boston, 40% from the three-point line against Chicago Sky, too. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
If you would have told me that Aliyah Boston was going into that game and shooting better at the three than Caitlin Clark would have, I would have thought you were insane. But I also wanted to give a big shout-out to Monique Billings. She's been playing really well as of late, kind of serving as that backup four right alongside Aliyah Boston and doing everything that we need to. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet a ton, but I wanted to give a big shout-out to her. And yeah, the Fever looking good. I think we can go on a nice little streak here.
I think this midseason run before the All-Star break is going to be crucial for this team. I mean, no one's going to remember starting the year 500 through 10 games if you just continue to stack wins, no matter who you're playing. Now, when you play the Atlanta Dream, when you play the New York Liberty, when you play the Las Vegas Aces, you need to match that moment as well. You need to match that energy. But yeah, it's going to come down to this supporting cast, and they've impressed me. Lexie Hull is a winning player on the Indiana Fever. She is a glue player for this team. She gets consequential rebounds. She's diving on the floor for loose balls. She's going to pour in a huge three to change the momentum of the game. She's an excellent defender for a team who's maybe a little below average on the defensive side of the basketball. Lexie Hull cannot stress her importance enough. And then you have Sophie Cunningham, who slammed the door shut against the Connecticut Sun. You need a player like that coming off the bench. She is like epitome of sixth man for this team, in the league, in the game of basketball. She's awesome off the bench, 11 straight points, coming off a game that she didn't play because of a right elbow. She looks great. Need her to be clicking on all cylinders. No question about that. And then Hines-Allen, unbelievable energy out of her. Love the way she plays the game. She gets contested rebounds. She's blocking shots. She's bringing energy, defending, finishing down low. Just when the Fever are playing fundamentally sound basketball, it's really, really impressive. And I do, to your point about Aliyah Boston, averaged under one attempted three-pointer per game the first 3 years of her career. She averaged 0.1 makes from beyond the three-point line. So barely took any, barely made any. She's taking over 1 3 a game. She's taking almost 3 3-pointers a game and making over 1 a game now in 2026. That is remarkable improvement. You may think, 0.1 to 1.1, that's not much. Over the course of a 44-game season, that is impressive for someone who has clearly worked on that part of her game, and it makes her that much harder to guard. She's already a force down low, but I cannot say enough good things about Aliyah Boston. So the Fever, it's in the summer. We're going to be talking about the Fever a lot. They're trending in the right direction right now. We need to keep that going for the Indiana Fever. Let's keep it on the basketball floor, and it's going to get tough here, Pacers fans. I'm sorry, but we got to talk about it. The New York Knicks are NBA champions for the first time since when, Will?
53 years?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. 53 years. The New York Knicks are NBA champions for the first time in 53 years. Look, cover your ears, Pacers fans. I think this is an excellent story. I mean, Madison Square Garden throughout this series was absolutely incredible. Primarily the game that the Knicks came down from 29 points. The Knicks trailed in Game 1 by 14, in Game 2 by 12, in Game 4 by 29, and in Game 5 by 16, and won every single one of those games. The San Antonio Spurs, I think their head coach said this after the series, we weren't ready. nor did we deserve to win an NBA Finals, and that is 100% correct. I mean, you need to know who your star is. It's not De'Aaron Fox. It is Victor Wembanyama. Wembanyama needs to get thicker skin, all right? And he needs to hit a treadmill also. My guy is blowing wind every fourth quarter. I've never seen a team consistently lose in the fourth quarter, collapse in the fourth quarter, like the San Antonio Spurs did this series. How does this relate, though, to the Indiana Pacers? The Pacers could argue they would be right there and could have won an NBA championship this year. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying you absolutely could argue it because since the Knicks acquired OG Anunoby, we talked about it with Tony East last episode, the only team to beat them in a series in the playoffs since 2023 would be the Indiana Pacers. Didn't have to play them this year. They won an NBA championship. Now, the postseason this year for the Knicks, they were on a different level. They were playing extremely well. Clearly, Mike Brown knew what he was doing, but Pacers fans, this is heartbreaking. Between Haliburton tearing his Achilles, the NBA draft lottery debacle when you did not get a top 4 pick after the worst season you've had in years, and you told yourself it was okay because you were going to get a top 10 pick. It did not happen. And then the Knicks winning the whole thing. A tough 365 days for Pacers fans, Will. You can't script it any worse, but hopefully this is setting up for a redemption arc.
Yeah, redemption arc, to say the least. One of the things that I did want to take away from the playoffs is, one, the Thunder looked beatable. The Thunder were beatable.
Yes.
And that's very good news for the Pacers.
Yes.
The team that won it all, to your credit, we've beat for the last couple of years in the playoffs. Obviously, went to 6 games and then it went to 7 games. But the fact of the matter is, we can beat these teams. We played the Spurs a few times. We played them in the NBA Cup, and it was a close game throughout. I genuinely think that if we were in the position that we were in last year, facing the Knicks in the conference finals, we could have beat them. And if we got the Spurs, this Spurs team against last year's Pacers team, I don't think they would have stood a chance.
Well, as I always say, if ifs and buts for candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. I don't know. You can do these hypotheticals all you want. It's very upsetting, though.
It is.
It is so upsetting and disappointing for Pacers fans this year. We all were okay with it because we were going to get a top 4 pick. It did not happen. That stings so badly. Tyrese Haliburton, the whole thing. And then the Knicks win it all.
If I could, really quick, I do want to give a nice little shout out to former Indiana Hoosier OG Anunoby.
Yes,
I mean, absolute legendary performance. That Game 4 game winner was insane. He played like one of the best players on the court that whole series, and he cannot get enough credit. Just wanted to give a nice little shout out to our Indiana guy,
Indiana Hoosier OG Anunoby, NBA champion, and for that, we are excited for you, sir. The Hoosiers on the basketball floor, running deep. Hey, let's recap IHSAA softball state championships just really quickly. Wanted to tell you who in the state of Indiana is hoisting the state championship trophy for softball. Let's start in Class 4A, Lake Central. The region, man, up north. I mean, the region, Fort Wayne, South Bend, Elkhart areas. They're always representing. There's no question about that. Lake Central, 9. Terre Haute North, 2. Very happy for Terre Haute. I lived in Terre Haute for 2 years. Happy that they were representing. The Patriots over there. Tegan Tripp, 3 hits and a homer for Lake Central. Very impressive en route to a state championship for Lake Central. Maddie Strange receives a mental attitude award. How about this? 4th state championship for Lake Central. First since 2004, so over 20 years had to wait for another state championship. Good stuff from Lake Central. In Class 3A, Hanover Central, unfortunately for people here in Indy. Now, congratulations to Hanover Central, beating New Pal 6-4. Second overall championship, again, first since 2004. So 2 teams with their first state championship since 2004. Jillian DeYoung, sophomore, 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. That is impressive stuff. Tough for New Pal, but congratulations to Hanover Central in Class 3A. Let's talk about Class 2A. Tecumseh beating Western Boone 7-2. Audrey Seller, 6 strikeouts, 2 earned runs over 7 innings pitched. Really impressive. You want your ace on the bump in the state championship, am I right? Mm-hmm. Tecumseh repeats as 2A state champion, wins record-tying 7th softball state championship. So we got a dynasty powerhouse softball giant, Tecumseh, winning yet another state championship. Western Boone's Dottie Wilson with the Mental Attitude Award. That is an important honor as well. And last but certainly not least, in Class 1A, Bar Reeve, blanking South Central, 6-0. Bar Reeve covered them while I was in Terre Haute as well. Great sports high school, Bar Reeve. Love it. First softball state title for Bar Reeve. School's third state championship of the year.
Wow.
How about that?
Look at that.
Big time year for that senior class especially. Congratulations to Bar Reeve, who finished the season 32-1. Vikings shortstop Addison Jones wins the Mental Attitude Award. How about that for a little state championship wrap?
Love it.
Good stuff right there. Congratulations to all of our state champions. I was just talking to somebody. Indiana does state championships so incredibly well. You should be very proud to be a high school athlete or support high school athletics in this state. It's very impressive playing at Lucas Oil, playing at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, playing at Bittinger Stadium, playing at Victory Field, and then all the other sports too. They do it really, really well. Tip of the cap to the IHSAA and all of our state champions for softball. Hey, we got baseball coming up as well. Stick around. We're going to do a little baseball preview. I'd be remiss, though, if I didn't mention Team USA Soccer. By the time you're listening to this, we're hopefully beating and or have already beat Australia as well. The Aussies. But I got to tell you, I have not felt things. I've watched the World Cup since 2010. All right, look, I'm not that old. I'm almost 30. So, don't hate me. It's not like I've watched, all the World Cup since 1958. But I have never felt the way about a U.S. men's soccer team because you always get into it. I don't know about you. I always get into the World Cup because why wouldn't you? It's kind of like the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do I follow curling year round? No. But if the U.S. is in a gold medal match, I'm going to watch, and I'm going to be very disappointed if they lose, and I'm going to be pumped up if they win. No, yeah, you can call me a casual fan of U.S. soccer, but it's awesome what I witnessed on Friday night. Beating the pulp out of Paraguay, who, by the way, didn't allow a goal through World Cup qualifying and played the likes of Morocco and Brazil, who are in the FIFA rankings, are two top 10 countries. It's just 4-1 is crazy. Christian Pulisic played like a superstar. I'm just so incredibly impressed with what I saw. I mean, you got guys who can create and just score from anywhere. Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, unbelievable midfielder. Fuller and Balogun, 2 goals, one of which was absolutely nasty. Super interesting story about him. His parents are Nigerian. He was born in the United States, grew up in England. All 3 countries wanted him on their team, and he chose the United States, and boy, are we happy. They have been wanting a player like him for a while. I mean, obviously they have Pulisic, but a guy who can just finish. I mean, you got Dest, you got McKinney, you got Pulisic, you got Balogun, all guys who can create and score. They were just aggressive the entire game. I've never watched a game like that. That was so much fun. I had so much fun watching USA Soccer. 4-1, absolutely belt to you-know-what, getting this thing started on your home turf in Los Angeles. You can play Australia and Seattle. Australia with a really impressive win over Turkey, too. So Australia and Turkey, both top 30 teams in the FIFA rankings. So it's not going to get easy, but you have to be encouraged about it. Just wanted to mention it briefly. I know not an Indiana tie there, but really impressive stuff. Joining us on today's episode of Get In Sports is a very, very special guest. We're talking about Matt Carroll. Let me tell you a little bit about Matt Carroll, because I know you might be asking, is he the one from Notre Dame or is he one from Purdue? Because I thought he was the Matt Carroll from Notre Dame basketball. However, he is a former Division I basketball player at Purdue University. He is very unique because he played under both Gene Keady and Matt Painter. All right, coming out of high school, Matt was ranked among the top 100 players in the country and received 22 Division I scholarships. That's only 22 more than I received. Ultimately choosing Purdue was in Lafayette. He was a 4-time academic All Big Ten selection, and that's why he's been successful later in life. Following college, Matt built a successful global career in logistics, warehousing, and supply chain management, leading operations across the U.S., Europe, Asia, Australia, and Canada. Today, he's a commercial real estate broker and advises warehouse occupiers, logistics companies, investors, and developers on real estate strategies, site selection, and growth initiatives. All right, but Matt's unique background has recently led him into the media and entertainment space. I'm excited to dig into this with him. But he was a contestant on the most recent season of ABC's most popular dating show. You may know The One. It's received some notoriety of late because of that. He's increasingly become involved in hosting, interviewing, broadcasting, and public speaking. Most recently participated in the Final Four weekend's festivities here in Indianapolis. Oh, by the way, with sports personalities Chris Broussard, Wally Zerbiak. He interviewed coaches, athletes, leaders, and he's going to become a presence in sports media. But most importantly, Matt, proud father of 3 children, passionate about leadership, personal growth, resilience, and helping others navigate life's unexpected transitions. How about that for an intro? Welcome, Matt Carroll, to the studios of Get In Sports. Appreciate you being here.
You should keep going. Is there any more?
Oh, here we go. His journey from growing up in Latin America to Division I athletics. I know. I thought I would just cut it short there. But Matt, seriously, thanks for joining us. This is a really cool guest. You're very accomplished in life.
Thank you. Well, I
feel like
I've lived 7 lives.
And oh, by the way, founder of Get In.
I'm here too.
Nate Spangle is
It's
here
me.
as well.
Hello, friends. I'm back, and I'm in the guest side. This is fun.
Yeah, I know. This is kind of weird.
No, I love it. Come on,
Putting
D
me
man.
in the captain's chair.
Yeah. Well, this is all things sports, and I'm pumped for today.
Yeah, thanks for setting this up. How did you guys? I want to know how you guys got together.
Dude,
though.
see, I'm in the business of knowing who's trending and who's popular in the state of Indiana, and Matt Carroll
Yes.
is trending, is popular. And then I got to sit down and get lunch with him, and I was like, oh, dude, this guy's nails.
Yeah,
like we've got to come chat. And I was like doubly impressed because obviously looking into next week, a lot of Purdue guys, there's a couple Purdue guys that we need to dive into. We needed a subject matter expert that knows the ropes around West Lafayette. And I thought, who better? The worlds collide. People put them right in front of you, and let's set this thing up.
Let's set this thing up.
Love it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So,
And Nate, thanks for being next to me today. I feel so honored.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
I know this is a fun connection. Just talking to Matt 10 minutes prior, there's a lot we can get into here, but I want to start. Are you aware that Notre Dame basketball had a Matt Carroll when you were at Purdue?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because back then there were times where people would confuse the two of us, right?
Yeah.
And we're similar in age, and he had a very accomplished career there. So the irony is that, so I grew up in Latin America.
Yeah.
And I actually grew up playing not basketball, but baseball and soccer. I eventually found basketball later, around 13 years old or so.
Yeah, when they're like, who's like the 7-foot kid out there trying to kick a soccer ball?
7-foot Guatemalan? But for the record, I'm 6'8". But when I moved to Denver when I was about 14, my high school coach was actually Pat Garrity's high school coach.
No way.
Yeah, the great Pat Garrity that played at Notre Dame, went on to be an All-American, and then played in the NBA.
Word.
And so I grew up while I was in Denver, wanting to play, of course, for the Dukes of the world, but also Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. And so the irony is that I ended up in Indiana, but at Purdue. But then there was another Matt Carroll at Notre Dame. What are the odds?
That is so funny. So you were itching to come to the Hoosier State.
Apparently it was fate.
So talk to me about growing up in Latin America. I guess I wasn't aware of that. I don't even know how to start this question, but where to start? Can you tell me?
Well, my dad's half Guatemalan. And again, one of the tallest Guatemalans, right, that you can think of.
Has to be.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thunk? But
yeah,
but my dad's half Guatemalan. My grandmother was from there. We were down there for my dad's work. We spent 2 years in the UK as well. So, not to confuse the situation here, but mainly in Guatemala City. And so we have a lot of family down there still. But yeah, one of those things where all of a sudden I was 14, my brother was 12. My parents wanted us to go to high school and college here in the U.S., and take advantage of that. So they thought that was the right age to come back. And because my parents were born and raised in Houston. And so when we moved back, Denver was the place my dad had a job. And it was never in the cards to say we're going to move back strategically for the kids, me and my brother, to play sports, because my brother ended up playing football at Holy Cross in Boston.
Oh, very nice.
And so he's built very differently than I am. He's shorter and stockier. I'm kind of taller and leaner. But as fate would have it, all of a sudden, things just took off, right? Yeah. I had this amazing coach who believed in me. I had the work ethic to match. He challenged me one day. And actually, my dad sat me down one day and he said, Matt, or son, I guess at that time, he said, son, we don't have the means to send you to college, but so you have a choice. You can either go get some internships and jobs to start making money to help pay, or you can try to do the basketball thing. I chose the basketball thing, and
As any kid would.
As any kid would. And but my high school coach said, Matt, you're going to have to give up partying and weekends and nights and all the things if you want to do this. And I took on that challenge, and I gave up certainly a lot to be able to do this, but it was very rewarding. And before I knew it, here I am at 17, top 100 in the country, going to places like Nike Camp that used to exist, and it used to be here in Indy.
No way.
Absolutely. And so the irony, as the story goes, I came to Indianapolis as they invite the top 200 players, and my team was stacked. My Nike team was. I mean, future NBA Hall of Famers and all the things. It was pretty crazy.
Like who?
Amari Stoudemire was on my team, and Duan Wagner, for those basketball nerds of you guys know. And then had a guy that went to North Carolina, a guy that went to UConn. It was pretty insane, our team. David Lee were the kind of guys you were playing against, and all the guys. But so here we are, and I went in kind of as this, although I was top 200 at the time, unknown guy from Colorado. But what changed my world was I came out of that as ranked as one of the top 10 at my position. And when I was there, the coaching team from Purdue said, hey, or the staff said, hey, you should come up to Purdue after all this is done. So my dad and I drove up to West Lafayette. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. This might sound naive to you, but I had no idea who Purdue was and West Lafayette, all the things.
That checks out.
Yeah, that checks out.
Especially for a guy from Colorado.
So I knew what Colorado State was, Colorado, and all the West schools, right, like UCLA. Arizona at the time, which was, they're still good, but back then they were legendary.
Yes.
And so here I am in West Lafayette. I'll never forget. Coach Keady walks in, sits down, and goes, in his voice, tells me, Matt, I love how you play defense and how hard you play. I'd like to offer you a scholarship to come and play at Purdue. So that started the journey as me trying to see what would happen with Purdue.
What number was Purdue? So you totaled 22 Division I offers. Where was Purdue in the mix?
Well, obviously at the end they were number one.
Yeah.
Well,
but
yes.
like what number were they in
the beginning? You mean like what?
Like they were like the 16th offer.
Oh, I see. They were close to being one of the first.
Okay.
Utah was probably the first.
So Purdue's an early mover.
But
before we get into all things NBA draft, I do want to know what were the three hats on the table for you? Like when you were at your side, where were you down between, and how did Purdue end up winning it?
Yeah, well, I would tell you UCLA. Steve Lavin was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Coach Lavin became a very dear friend and mentor of mine. To this day, we still take absolutely wonderful guy. We were just texting actually a couple days ago, and the other one, so Stanford was in the mix, Vanderbilt, but the top three would have been UCLA, Purdue, and then Utah, because Rick Majerus was at Utah at the time.
Oh man!
And so
we're talking legends here.
Legends, and so all these guys sat in my living room and all the things, and I was very fortunate. You mentioned a coach that was well known back then. He either sat in my living room when I was on the phone with him, and it was for a 17-year-old kid back then, it was like, what do I do with all of this? So it was pretty amazing.
How do you manage that? Not thinking, oh, I'm the man. I have 22 scholarships from D1, and like really, it's funny. I was just talking to I think my wife about this, but one of the most important decisions you make is when you're 17, 18 years old.
That's right.
To spend your next 4 years that ultimately shapes your life.
That's
so
right.
how did you balance that? I guess
it's a great question. I had really great people around me. My high school coach, I consider him almost like a second father, especially at that time, and a guy who's got a lot of wisdom. He was putting us as the players first, not his ego. And so that was really helpful. He had navigated all this with some of his other players, like Pat Garrity, for example. And so that was helpful. My parents were really instrumental in all this. And then I had some really great teachers, and I just had a community around me.
Yeah.
And honestly, at the time, I did not understand this, but it's an important point that I wish I knew back then, that pressure is a privilege. And back then, I didn't understand that concept. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with all this. I'm 17, like you said. I'm about to make this big decision, which at the time, I didn't even realize how big it was.
Exactly.
I mean, when you think about it, I'm still in Indiana, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so
you don't.
I could be in Utah.
You don't realize
he'd be on the Get Ute show.
That's right. But anyway, that's really
there it
funny.
is. There it is.
Landed. Yeah, it took me a minute, but I got the. But no, it's funny how that works, and so it was hard to do all of that at the time. And also, someone asked me recently. They said, Matt, was it hard at 17 to say no to all those other schools? And it was. I mean, because a lot of these guys recruited me for so long, I became close to some of them.
Yeah.
Did you pick up the phone and call all the coaches?
I did. Now
that's classy.
Yeah, and my parents made sure that I did, because some of them we had been in touch for quite some time. And back then, it sounds like I'm 72 years old, which I swear to God I'm not.
Dialing his landline phone. You're like, don't be using the long distance minutes.
That's the rotary. But no, but it was one of those things where a lot of these guys were on the phone with me weekly, some of them daily at the time, and sending me letters and all the things. And
they couldn't text you.
They couldn't text me, exactly. So it was a different era, of course. Now it's changed, right? You've got social media, you've got texting, you've got all the things that have changed the landscape of it all, right? You've got the NIL, which we can get into as well, which maybe, ages me, but it wasn't around back then, right? So the things that you hear now about those things have changed the landscape, of course. Yeah. And you could argue for the better or for the worse. We can get into that. But at the time, so it was hard to say no to a lot of these coaches, but at the same time, some of them became dear friends, like Coach Lavin. Yeah. I mean, I've stayed with him in his home in California multiple times. We talk a lot. We text a lot. And I've actually gone out to visit him when he was at St. John's out in New York.
Nice.
So all these small world things, right? Coach Keady ended up being his assistant at St. John's for a little bit. People forget about that.
People do forget that.
And so there's all these small world things. But the thing about it, and we can get into this, you talk about coaching trees, right? You think about Izzo, you think about Krzyzewski and these coaching trees that exist, Coach Knight. Katie's no different, right? You've got Quanzo Martin, right? He's had an illustrious career. And then you have people like Steve Lavin and some others. But when you think about these different coaching trees, Katie's one of them. Yeah. And so all of a sudden it becomes a small world, right, where I graduate and I'm still staying in touch with guys, and Coach Katie's over there, helping Steve Lavin. I'm still friends with him. It's all amazing how it all works.
That's really, really interesting, and I want to kind of get to. And feel free, we can go to draft first if you want, but I kind of wanted to go through his Purdue experience first. First of all, just going to Indiana, because you name all these West Coast teams. Okay, you're from the West Coast. I guess you would claim it, right? Correct. Were you happy that you went outside of what you were familiar with for college?
That's a good question. For me, it's very situational, right? So I'd have a different answer for you today. But back then, the Big Ten, it's returned to this, but the Big Ten back then was, outside of the ACC, was the biggest conference at the time. Yeah. And arguably the biggest, right? Yep. When you think about my freshman year, IU went to the national championship, for example. That was when Jared Jeffries was there. So there was a lot of things going on with the Big Ten. So, and it was not just isolated to basketball. It was about academics. It was about playing for a future Hall of Famer. It was about the way I fit into their system. So it wasn't purely just Purdue for the sake of Purdue. Right. And so, and that's a lot of what you see right now in the portal and NIL situations, right? It's about the right fit to the system, just like it would be in the NBA, right? Yeah. Why do some guys get drafted over others? Well, a lot of it has to do with fit. So that's what it was for me.
That's really interesting. Okay, so we mentioned this off the top, and you were at Purdue 2001 through 2006?
Correct. I redshirted 1 year, yeah.
Redshirted 1 year, and you are uniquely positioned, and you said one of 4 players to play under both Gene Keady and Matt Painter.
That's right.
That's really, really interesting. So I guess talk about your experience. You signed up for Gene Keady. You get Matt Painter, both legends in their own right.
Today. Like at the time, was Painter positioned? Like, were people excited?
Right.
Were you nervous? Did they know? I mean, it's impossible that they knew he was going to be what he is today.
That's right.
But at the time, like, what were the feelings in the locker room around that?
Yeah, because they brought him in as coach in waiting, essentially.
Essentially.
Right? I mean, so how was that transition?
Well, it was interesting the way it happened, because when I got there were already coaches. I tell this to a lot of people when they ask me about getting recruited. Coach Keady was one of the few that did not negatively recruit other coaches. And what I mean by that is I had a lot of coaches come in and say, hey, you shouldn't go there because, that guy is this or that, or that program is, whatever. Coach Keady didn't do that. He came in and just elevated Purdue for Purdue's sake and didn't put other people down.
I love that.
So when I got there excited about the program, about Keady. So it's a very interesting question, because all of a sudden we had a very good, well, arguably a pretty good year my freshman year. And my sophomore year, we went to the NCAA. But then my junior year, it didn't go as well. And that's when we started to hear rumors about Coach Keady maybe retiring and maybe getting out of this. And as a player back then, especially because back then you were almost penalized for transferring. You had to sit out a year and all the things, right? So it was almost like, well, what do you do with this, right? And you have to almost write it out and see where this goes. And then Coach Painter was announced as the heir apparent, right? And
heir apparent.
Honestly, that's what he was.
That's what he was. And it also became one of those things where all of a sudden he's in the locker room and he's there with us as the head assistant. And that was an interesting shift, because even though Keady was still very much in control, there was Painter there, and you were trying to prove yourself not only to Keady, but to Painter. And
was he taking over certain elements, or was it still very much Gene Keady?
It was very much Gene Keady's show, and rightfully so. And Coach Painter was very respectful of that.
Right, okay.
And I always thought that was a very, very good move. So Keady was always at the helm coaching and strategizing, but then Painter was there at practices, and Painter's a very good X's and O guy, and he also is a very detailed person. He gives the best answers ever. As a sports journalist, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah. He's a savant. Yeah. He honestly is.
Yes.
And he's very shrewd in terms of how to deal with people. And he knows how to motivate individuals. Keady was very good at motivating a group. Mm-hmm. Painters as well, but he's very good at individual motivation as well. So a guy that played with me back then was Carl Landry, right? He went on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he played in the NBA, had an illustrious career there. Mm-hmm. But he knew how to motivate Carl and then also motivate me. We're very different archetypes, right? Very different players. So I always liked that about him. But he left Keady alone. He did his own thing. But it was a very strange time as a player, right? As you're trying to figure out, where do I fit into all this?
Right. And to your point about Matt Painter, I mean, Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Wren, Fletcher Lawyer, as recent examples, were not these 5-star, highly recruited Duke, North Carolina guys, but at the end of their careers, some of the most accomplished
Zach Keady,
some of the most accomplished college basketball players
Absolutely.
ever, and Purdue's won 100+ games in 4 years or whatever it is.
Yeah,
so.
It's incredible. Zach Keady was ranked 400th coming out of high school.
Yeah,
he was drafted 9th. And I mean, it's incredible. Arguably, statistically, one of the greatest basketball players ever to come out of college basketball. Dominant.
People didn't appreciate during the time just how dominant.
Yeah. I mean, when you watch highlights, it's incredible. You dump the ball down there, and it's automatic.
Yeah. On this transition from Gene Keady to Matt Painter, I think anybody who goes through a coaching transition, and this seems like a positive coaching, a lot can be like animosity, contentious,
Absolutely.
not good. This seems like a positive thing, and Gene Keady very much celebrated for his time at Purdue. And Matt Painter, obviously, that was the correct choice and the right move. But the last year of Gene Keady, the first year of Matt Painter, when you understand as a player that you're going through a transitional year, it's not like you're going to a Final Four a lot of times. And I think we said before the show, 2 of the statistically record-wise worst seasons in Purdue.
That's right. I apologize to Coach Painter all the time. Hey, man, I am really sorry that you couldn't get to 500 sooner. I was in the way of that. The guys there at the time caused you to delay that. But yeah.
Well, he's getting his footing as a head coach for
Absolutely.
a Big Ten team, his alma mater, right? And you guys are the foundation, basically. What was that juxtaposition kind of, okay, I know it's not going to be great, but we are the foundation of this new era?
Good question. And I was an upperclassman at the time. So we had a lot of new players. So Matt Painter's first year, we had 8 new guys. And back then, a lot of it had to do with like JUCO stuff, right?
Yeah.
Junior college stuff. So we had a lot of junior college guys, a lot of freshmen, which back then, and this might sound kind of crazy to some people listening, but back then it was very much of you gave way to your upperclassmen, and then the guys who were younger or coming in were kind of in learning, if you will. And every once in a while you'd get like a super freshman that would change that dynamic, but that really was you'd pay your dues kind of situation, right? And so to have all these new guys come in and feel this shift culturally, not crazy in a crazy way, but there was a shift, right?
Yeah.
And all positive, but nonetheless, as someone who was there already for 2 or 3 years, it was different and an adjustment. So, and Coach Painter back then, we joke about this all the time. Coach Painter will tell you that he was a different coach back then. Right?
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
I mean, no, not just physically, right? He had, dark hair, glasses, and everything. But no, he was very boisterous. He was very engaged. Now, when you watch Coach Painter, he'll kind of get animated at times, but a lot of the times he's kind of sitting back and leaning up against the scores table and all those kinds of things.
He picks his spots, for sure.
Picks his spots. You go to practice. He lets his assistants do a lot, right? And he'll kind of pick his spots. But so he's very much in control, but he's not as boisterous as he once was. And so he was trying to figure out at the time, people forget he's only 35 years old. Think about that. I mean,
to lead a legitimate program like that.
I mean, it's incredible. So you talk to these top tier coaches, Lav and I were talking about this at one point. When he was running UCLA, he was talking about how you are the CEO of like a Fortune 500 company.
Yes.
Right. When you think about the media, when you think about the people in the stands, and you're heading a program, you're recruiting, the coaching
donors,
you're raising money. it's so incredible that coaching becomes a very minute part of it almost, right? And then you add in recruiting and then NIL these days. It's a very complicated organism, right? And so he was trying to figure out where he fit into that. And of course he did, right? In hindsight, we look back and go, wow, how did he do it? But I think the most amazing thing about Coach Painter, though, is that he was able to insert himself into that. It's not easy to follow a Hall of Famer and to then create his own brand of basketball.
It didn't seem like he a lot of people resent it and almost go extreme the other way.
That's
I
right.
have to be myself. I have to match this. And it seemed like he just kind of seamlessly took the baton.
He did.
Did you feel
The most recent example would be Shire at Duke.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a really good example. What has it been like for you? I'm assuming that you take a lot of pride in being a Purdue Boilermaker.
Absolutely.
Just after your experience
Absolutely.
under the two greats. But just seeing the recent success, I feel like Matt Painter is like the epitome of consistency. And Purdue as a program, right? But, getting to the national championship game, Sweet 16, Elite Eights, they've been so close. But yeah, just the consistent success, I imagine that's just a great feeling as an alum.
It is. And one thing that people don't realize is how rare it is in today's day and age, especially, to have the continuity that he has brought.
Yeah.
So you talk to, and no shade thrown to IU, and not because of rivalry, but it's an immediate example I have, right, where you talk to those guys. And when you talk about all the coaching changes that have happened there, there's not a lot of continuity there. Mm-hmm. And so what he's brought to the table is that when you look at it now, there's been 50 years of just two coaches at Purdue. So that's incredible, right?
That's so
think
cool.
about that. So when you think about that, then you start to back into an idea that is overplayed and overused a lot of times, but this idea of family, this idea of what it means to belong to something bigger than you. And Purdue has allowed that to happen, and that's what you see. So there's a lot of pride there. And there's a lot of pride in knowing that you were a part of building what started, the beginning of what we see now.
Exactly. Yeah. You look back at probably during the first year of Painter, not fun going, I think it was
fun
like
at all.
9 and 19 or something like that.
I have a great story, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask you your favorite Matt Painter and Gene Keady story.
Okay.
But I want to hear.
I've got a lot of Coach Keady stories.
Yeah.
Well, here's my Keady story. I was a freshman. And we had 72 plays, guys, my freshman year.
72 plays?
I was with Coach Keady about 2 weeks ago, having dinner with him and his wife.
Oh, no way.
And I told Coach Keady, I said, Coach, do you remember this story? I said, we had 72 plays my freshman year. And he was like, And so, but his wife was laughing. And I told him, I said, Coach, I don't know if you remember this, but my freshman year is I'm trying to learn 72 plays. This, of course, included out-of-bounds plays and everything. But
right.
Here we are in practice, and when you're trying to learn that much, you all of a sudden start running the spots instead of when you're screening, you should screen the person.
Yeah.
But I'm running the spots, because I'm just trying to keep up. So this happens early on in practice, my freshman year, and he blows the whistle and starts yelling at me, Carroll, what are you doing? Who are you screening? And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm thinking, I ran the play. I ran exactly where I'm supposed to go. And he goes, who are you screening? And before I could answer, he goes, you're screening Harvey the Rabbit. And everyone starts laughing. And I'm looking at him, and he goes, do you know who Harvey the Rabbit is? I'm like, no, Coach. He goes, he doesn't exist. So, yeah, it was a great story. But my favorite.
I love that.
Isn't that great? So
that's old school.
Old school right there. Yeah. But Matt Painter wasn't, funny in that way, although Matt Painter is very funny.
He's witty.
He's very witty and very, very quick. But my favorite story with Painter, and I always give him a hard time, is that my freshman year, we were losing, a couple in a row. And we get into practice. Some of these freshmen didn't understand what it meant to do the things that we needed to do to win. Mm-hmm. And they were goofing off in practice. And Coach, I could just see it coming. I'm like, oh, my God, here we go. Here we go.
As an upperclassman, too, you could just
you could just feel it. You could sense it. And so Coach blows the whistle. These are 3-hour practices, right? And he tells the managers to put all the balls away, keep one out. And I'm just going, oh, my God, here we go. And so he lines us up, freshmen to seniors, and said, starting with seniors, I'm going to shoot a 1-and-1 for the rest of practice for the next 3 hours. And if you make both, we run up and down, all timed. If you make one and miss the second, we run up and down twice. Mm-hmm. If you miss both, 4 times up and down, all time. We did this for 3 hours. Yeah, at some point, you just like disassociate. But
what am I gonna do when I get out of this?
What am I gonna do?
I'm gonna be a changed person.
I think I lost 10 pounds that night.
Oh,
That's
my
wild.
word.
Dude, you talk about like the coaches and continuity, I think was the word you talked about. I just looked it up. Between both of them, 17 tournament appearances each. Over 50 years or 50, however many seasons, 1980 to 2026.
Pretty wild.
34 people would, I mean, they'd go crazy if their team was in the tournament 34 times in that,
Ask IU how they would feel about consistently going to the tournament.
Dom's also an Irish fan, and like, Dom, come on, go into the tournament.
I mean, Mike Bray, doesn't hold a candle to
but
Matt
I mean,
Painter.
that's
Shrewsbury
why,
certainly
start getting, you get a little high on the hog, and people are like, oh, I don't know, we're not winning the big one. Like, you're forgetting that you're in the tournament and you at least have a chance.
They're a victim of their own standard.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, people come at Matt Painter all the time. Oh, they choke, this and that. It's like, I don't even remember the North Texas loss or this. I mean, they've gotten to a national championship. The last time they didn't make the tournament outside of COVID was 2013, 2014. And since then, they made it every single year. And you believe they have a chance to win every single year.
Well, and think about how wild this is, right? And Coach Payne and I laugh about this whenever we talk about it. But think about how wild it is that all of a sudden you have people in comments saying, "Oh, they should fire Matt Painter."
That's just insane.
I was thinking about that this morning, and I thought to myself, "Well, what were you hoping for?
Right.
What is it that you're hoping to substitute him with?
What's better?
What's better?
I mean, winning national champ. I mean, geez, not even the best programs don't do that. What UConn did doesn't happen anymore.
Well,
right?
and think about IU again, not to pick on them, but IU.
Please,
please, let's pick on them. But no comments, please, my way. No negativity here.
Right.
But honestly, I think about who they fired over the years. Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah.
I mean, look what he's done at Houston.
And what everything now, yes, I saw your look. What everything he did, probably like legal today also.
Absolutely.
But at the time, what are you supposed to do?
What are you supposed to do? But then you look at
it's just illegal because he got caught. Like,
right?
at
the time, Will Wade nature.
But then you
right
look
there.
at the fact that they fired a lot of other coaches who honestly I believe to be very, very good. And so there is something to be said about that continuity. And again, for the average Purdue fan, it's like, well, what is the standard? We are not Duke and UCLA and now UConn, I guess, with all these national championships under our belt, right? We are a different program, we are still one of the most elite programs, but you can't have the expectation of national championship or bust, right? There needs to be a different expectation there. And the thing that I think is the broader point here is this: Matt Painter, if you fire him, you get somebody else that then recruits different kinds of players,
right?
Then has to build something different, right? With the program that we know now is because of the continuity and because of what coach does to help players understand, not only develop them, but understand where they fit in. Everyone knows their place in that program, and that is 100%. Very key.
And rare. And I want to go to that right now because you don't get guys like Braden Smith, one of the best players in college basketball history, by the way, Trey Kaufman-Red, Fletcher Lawyer, who are that good for that long, that consistently, who stay at the same place nowadays. I mean, I can only imagine how much Braden Smith turned down in NIL money to go elsewhere for his final
There are
year.
rumors of multiple millions more than what he got at Purdue.
And that's what makes Purdue special because Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA, they're getting 5-star players and the expectation is national championship or bust. Yeah. Purdue is getting 3 stars and still making it just as far, if not deeper, in the tournament every single year. These 3 guys, great examples. Watching them not only have such success that they did, but in the era of transfer portal and NIL, does that not just epitomize exactly what you just said about Purdue and Matt Painter and everything like that?
Well, it also, yes. First of all, yes. Yeah. But I think it also goes to show you that there is still room for coaches like that in the game. And there's still room for programs like that where you can sit down and say, we're going to be patient, we're going to develop you, and we're going to recruit the right guys. Coach Painter and I were talking about this where it's so important to understand that every guy on a roster has a place. When you think about a movie set, you might have a star actor, let's say Tom Cruise, right? Yeah. But the movie doesn't work without all the other guys in the room who are doing lights and doing the production and all the sound. One of those things falls apart, the whole thing falls apart. So the idea is, although you have a guy who's the face of it, like a Tom Cruise, let's say. Everyone involved is important and has a role to play, and he has been able to communicate that to the guys. That, hey, your role is just as important as the guy who's the 15th guy on the bench as the guy who's the face of the program. We're all a part of something. It all falls apart if we're not together. And when you go to that program, he talks a lot about this, about how if you are a star athlete coming out of high school, right? And we're getting one right now, right? This freshman point guard who is
Ertl.
Ertl.
He is a stud.
That's
I've had
what
the
he says.
chance to watch him play a lot, and he's the real deal.
Well, he's ranked as high as 38 and maybe even higher in some polls in rankings in terms of where he is nationally player-wise. But he'll sit down with guys like that even and say, listen, you got to come and still prove yourself. Nothing is guaranteed. But if you come here and do your job and do things well, you have a chance to become fill in the blank. Right?
Braden Smith,
or whatever the case might be. So now, but he sets that expectation at the beginning. He's not promising you, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to be starting every game, which a lot of coaches do.
Yeah.
So is Ertl the heir apparent?
I think so.
Just to call back that word.
I had a chance to watch him throughout the regular season and then really in the state tournament. The way he gets to his spot, he's just different. You know, I watch high school kids and they're just different. Like the way he handles the ball, he can get to the rim, he can shoot threes, he's pass first, which is impressive because he could score every time if he wanted to. He's a lefty, which is kind of interesting too. But between him and Mayer, I think backcourt can be solid.
I agree.
But yeah, that's what do you think? All these three guys depart. What's the future? Because people are like, oh man, if we can't win it with them, then what's going to happen?
Well, I think right, but I think the key here is understanding that Purdue has never been a program of just replacing guys with All-Americans.
Right.
It's been and I still think that they have a chance to win the Big Ten. I still think that they have a great chance to make the tournament and actually do something there too. Instead of looking at it as we're going to replace these guys, it's better to look at it from the standpoint of who the guys are going to step up and produce as a team. Because there are guys like C.J. Cox, and we've got other guys who Jacobson, who's 7'4". I stood next to him recently, by the way, at an event up in West Lafayette. And I'm not used to, I'm 6'8". I'm not used to looking up at guys. And I was really looking at this guy. This is what it must feel like for the guys with me, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I stood next to him and it was crazy. 7'4", right?
That's huge.
He's So
it's like death, Texas, and Purdue having a
7-footer.
7-footer.
that's right.
Decent.
So I think that, and Jacobson, everyone was very high on him until he got hurt. And so he's not being asked to replace Edey, but he can come in and certainly fill a gap when it comes to height and versatility. He's a lot more mobile than Edey was. So I think that you've got all these different components that Burgess is another one, right? Where I think that he's a great example of someone who's kind of an up-and-comer. So when you I think it's going to be more about them being a unit this year than it is individuals, right? And so
Well, that's how it always is.
it always is, especially with Painter. But when I look at Ertl, I don't think it's about replacing Braden Smith. I don't think that's ever going to happen. It's kind of like saying we're going to replace Edey, but I think it's about who we can replace in terms of leadership,
Yes.
and toughness, because that part is honestly a lot of what those guys brought.
Yeah.
And so when you have a floor general, a guy who is able to get everyone corralled and say, this is where we're heading, or guys who are able to maintain calmness in the midst of the storm is really key. And I think when you look at Ertl, he's tough, he's productive, he's competitive. He's just a guy that gets it.
Yeah.
And he's a prototypical Purdue guard.
You don't see a lot of programs who can lose to a 16 seed, eat it and listen to it all summer, all season, and then go to the national championship. I mean, Virginia did it, and then Purdue, nearly did it, but that just speaks to leadership.
Absolutely.
I mean, how do you do that? Because you're hearing it every day.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it's crazy.
2 questions. 1, will Luke Ertl be a starter first season as a freshman?
I think yes. You would know better than me, but I think he's good enough. I think that's the answer. I don't know if he will be.
I'll go back to what I said earlier. I'm sure the conversations that are happening behind closed doors are you have the chance to be.
Yeah, right.
And you just need to go out there and prove it. And so he's going to have to compete against guys that, Moyer is he's very built. If you're around him, this dude
he's jacked.
He is jacked.
Yeah.
I mean, he's built like a square, right? And
He is. He really is.
He is. And so I think he's an example of someone who can, in time, lead that program as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to have to come in and compete, and nothing's ever promised there. So, but I think a lot of it will be determined on his growth this summer and how he does in practice and how it translates from where he's coming from.
So if we were placing bets, are you, yes, he's starting, no, he's not?
I think he does.
I think he does as well.
All right, I also think he does. Question 2, by the time he graduates from Purdue, will he have a large forearm tattoo?
No on the second.
I'm just wondering.
Who knows?
I'm just wondering.
Purdue changes you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Changes you. That's
Come on, you never know.
That's
you know?
interesting. What do you make of? And then we can get to the draft after this. But what do you make of how college athletics has changed? I mean, NIL is just crazy. Football, I feel like, is its own thing. But transfer portal, NIL, it just feel. I think it's gotta feel good as a Purdue alum that it feels like they've removed themselves from the craziness of it while embracing it. And still, does that make sense? I don't know.
It does. A lot of coaches, and I have talked to a fair amount, hate it.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who are in the game still, who are legendary, wish that this was, even though they embrace the fact that they have to adapt to it, wish that this was not a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's essentially, I mean, let's call it what it is, right? It's now, we're talking about pro sports.
I mean, it's pay to play.
It's pay to play.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of talk right now, and I'll get to my opinion on it, but there's a lot of talk right now about there just needs to be better parameters around it and more, if you transfer for example, I mean, right now you've got guys who've gone to 4 schools in 4 years, right? So what do we do to keep that in check, right? Because what happens too is that some of these guys are getting paid, they might not even play, and then they're transferring again. So what can we do to have some checks and balances that mirror the NBA, for example?
Yeah.
So that I think if we can put some guidelines in place that are a little bit more, maybe strict is not the word, but just something that everyone can follow and that makes a little bit more sense. Because right now it's a little bit of the Wild Wild West.
It is.
Yeah.
Dude, but here's the cool part when I think about Purdue. You talk about the 3 you've been talking about: Fletcher Lawyer, TKR, Braden Smith.
Yes.
All Indiana high school basketball players.
Yes.
So like it actually, if you go like way down the chain, it starts by developing the best high school basketball players early on, getting them on campus for camps or whatever it is, getting them bought into the Purdue way, and then like building that loyalty from the time that they're like 10 years old. Because like, you know, all those guys could have gotten bags going somewhere else,
Correct.
you know,
Yes.
and they just bought into a bigger vision, which is, I think, something that Matt Painter is spectacular at, is there's something bigger. Purdue basketball is bigger than you. It's bigger than this $1 million, because I know that sounds crazy that, you know, Braden Smith, forego $3 million or whatever it was to go somewhere else.
It really was.
In the state of Indiana, he will make more than $3 million because he stayed.
Yeah.
Like in the state of, let's say the NBA dreams maybe one day don't work out. Any company would hire this guy. Any Purdue alum would be like, have him sell anything, have him do whatever. Like, you're going to make more than $3 million because you were loyal to the home crowd in the long run. Not in the short run, but in the long run, I believe it will pay off in spades.
Couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you think, but
100%.
I think Purdue, what's unique about it is that program has been able to adapt the mindset of one guy can tear the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
It takes one guy, right? You can have the greatest athlete in the world and you bring them in the locker room, but he's a cancer and it tears the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
So you have to recruit the right Purdue kind of guy.
Yeah, and a lot of times that goes hand in hand with getting Indiana guys, like you said. And I just think that loyalty goes such a long way, and that ties perfectly to what we're talking about with NIL, because that just doesn't happen without the seedlings 4 or 5 years prior, before NIL was even a thing. What they wanted to end their career as Purdue guys, and they did. And that, to your point, Nate, I just think it's so rare.
Look at the guys that left.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Besides, Mason Gillis was an Indiana guy.
He
but
was a grad transfer.
Yeah.
I think,
So like,
whatever,
take that one kind of out of it. But like,
he's a good kid.
you know,
good kid.
the Indiana guys largely are all in on Purdue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and if you look historically, what are the healthiest programs, right?
Yes.
Well, Michigan State's one of them.
Yep.
And what do? They recruit a lot of in-state guys or guys who are just around that area. And that, to me, I always have heard the healthiest programs tend to do that, right?
Yeah.
So the ones that are tougher to maintain, although there's a couple of them, like the Dukes of the world, that have been able to do this, are the ones that go out and recruit from all over the country, and they're kind of always piecemealing something with these big players and big names. That's hard to sustain, though.
Or starting like 3 or 4 freshmen also.
That's right.
You know?
And you're managing personalities, you're managing egos when you're doing it at that level, right? Calipari did it at Kentucky well until he left to go to Arkansas. But when you think about what that is, it's essentially managing a roster of pro players at that point. And that's where we're at right now. So what do I think about it, though? I think that we were inevitably we were heading in this direction. Even when I played, we were always being taught, or there was always conversations about, are we going to get paid? I mean, I remember counting pennies to pay for dinner at times, right? And so that was the other extreme, right? Yeah. Now it's swung the other direction. I'd like to see something that brings it a little bit more into check. But now the crazy thing is that I'm hearing about this going down into high school.
Yes.
Personal branding activities.
That's right.
Oh, it has to be removed from the school, essentially.
Hey, we're in the market. Let me just tell you.
We want to get an athlete.
We want to sign some athletes. Let me just tell you.
But I do think, just on its face, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Think, to me, that's crossing a line a bit.
Yeah.
Now, I do appreciate that the school is kind of removed from it. And if they go out on their own and they get a deal,
it's
whatever.
the same thing too. Like if you were a high school kid and you posted every day and got 100,000 followers to follow your journey to becoming a varsity athlete online, like that's cool, and you should be able to monetize that for sure.
Well, I'd like to think that all money making activities were that innocent for these high school kids, and that's what I think it's meant for. Like NIL was meant for players on the roster to go be the spokesperson for a car dealership and make $60,000, which is a bag, by the way.
Absolutely.
Forget these millions.
When
and millions
do we get to a place where we're talking about how it's not?
Right?
Yeah.
Right? But now it's like, come to our school and we'll pay you, and you don't have to play it down. That to me is where we got the wires crossed.
We're building super teams at high school level.
Yeah, and then
That's
it gets
crazy.
down to the high school level. Like I don't think it was ever supposed to be in the parameters, like you said.
Well, the question now for me, so I have kids, right?
Yeah.
And boys who are playing basketball. They're 12 and 10. I have a little girl who's 8.
Are they looking for NIL personal brand?
I am.
He's the
let's
agent.
that's right. Let's make it middle school now too. But the thing that I fight now is this idea that, are you playing basketball because you love it, or because you're thinking about the money and the fame?
See,
that's the thing that's sad for me to watch, is that I came to basketball. Of course, I wanted to play in the NBA one day, but I came to it because I loved the game first. And you see a lot of these players who show up to the gyms now decked out in their gear, and you're going, okay. And you can tell already who the players are and who they aren't just by how they show up, right?
Yeah.
But that's the sad part to me, is that the game is changing and evolving into that. And by the way, I do believe that is a reason why, we were talking about this before the show started, there are so many foreigners. And I don't mean this in a negative way that they're foreigners. I just mean that there is a cultural difference overseas in terms of how these players are developed. And so when you look at a lot of the famous NBA players now are Eastern Europeans. And I mean, Wemby is not Eastern European, but he is French. You look at the Joker, you look at Luka, you look at Giannis. I mean, who's from Greece. I mean, all these different players are now the ones that we look at as the ones who are in the NBA doing well.
You just named 5 of the top 8 stars
Arguably,
in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And they're all European or not US. That's
right.
basically what it is.
Well, and the head coach of UConn women, the great coach there, talked about this recently. He said, what we're getting wrong in the United States right now is that we are playing 5 times and practicing once. This is at the high school and middle school level. Where overseas, what they're getting right is that they're practicing 5 times and playing once.
That's profound.
And so that's the whole shift that we're seeing right now too, even in the college level, right? Which is, here we are talking about guys who are getting paid and all the things, when overseas, although they are playing at a younger age in the big leagues, right? Because there are these super leagues up there. And Luka is an example, right? He was playing at like 14 for like Barcelona or something like that, right?
Yeah, he was.
And so
and dominating.
By the way. So it's not the absence of them not making money or being in these developmental leagues, but at the same time, they just approach the game a little differently, right? And I think that's what we're seeing now here in the U.S. in terms of not only at the collegiate level, but also the NBA.
What's that movie with Adam Sandler where he is like a talent scout for basketball? Have you seen this?
Oh,
Hidden
yes.
Gems?
Is it Hidden Gems?
Or is that? I thought
No,
that
that's
was
Uncut
gambling.
Gems.
Or
That's
Uncut
different.
Gems, not Hidden Gems. I can't believe I just said Hidden Gems. You should
In-
ask him
in
Hidden
Indiana.
Gem, by the way. But yeah, no, I think that European versus U.S. goes in so well culturally to what you're talking about.
It's called Hustle.
Hustle.
And
That's
he's
right.
like, he like finds like a guy playing basketball at a local park and like becomes kind of his like de facto agent. And like
That was
moves in with
everyone's
him.
dream growing
I
up.
mean,
Someone's
right.
gonna drive past me in the driveway and
Dude, that's what-
recognize my talent.
That's what I'm looking for when we were looking for personal branding activities with high school kids. Like, who do we see out
Driving
there?
around.
Yeah, just no,
That guy just did
we
a
are not-
fadeaway while I was driving by his
I just want to say
driveway.
we are not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that, guys. I have a question that's going to lead us into NBA draft stuff.
Please.
Why are Braden Smith and TKR working out for the Pacers?
I think it's just you just go around and because the Pacers don't have a draft pick.
No.
Okay, but in TKR's case, I'd be interested to get your opinion on this. Probably undrafted, if I had to guess. Trey Kaufman-Renn. So the Pacers can always work out guys for that. But you never know what could happen. They could trade back into the second round. They could do something where it's absolutely advantageous.
I mean,
to get
Dom
these
just
guys.
like did not bury the lead on that. You just don't think he's going?
I don't believe Trey Kaufman-Renn will be drafted. I think Braden Smith certainly will be. I think Braden Smith can be really good in the NBA. I think if someone takes a chance and just gets past the height situation. They both worked out for the Pacers. I was there. And Braden Smith said every team is talking to him about his height. Trey Kaufman-Renn's extremely skilled. He's trying to show teams they can shoot threes. But his style of play is very like 1950s kind of.
They're also talking to him about both of these guys are talking about their height.
Yeah. I mean, true at Trey Kaufman-Renn's position too. But what do you think about these two guys and their?
Well, let me give you my
prospects?
opinion. I think that the NBA is a league that looks at a couple of different factors, right? It looks for certainly. I mean, you talked about height, so that's obviously a factor. But I also think that when they're looking at height, they're not just looking at it from standpoint of does he pass the eye test, right? And is he tall enough to be able to get a shot off, let's say. It's also look at the other way. Is he big enough to defend elite players?
Right.
It's not just about the offensive end, right? So, but the NBA loves players who have unique skill sets. And the NBA will love, in my opinion, Braden Smith's ability to find, he's like a Jason Kidd, right? Jason Kidd was never the greatest shooter, although he became one later. But he was just a guy who, surrounded by the right kind of guys, had a knack, of course, for finding guys at the right time, the right place to score and to do all the things they ended up doing. And actually creating careers for the guys that without him there may have not have been as successful, right?
100%.
So I think that Braden Smith falls into that category. Unfortunately, he's just undersized. But here's the thing. You think about Edie. 400th ranked guy coming out of high school. Everyone was talking about how, well, this guy's big, but, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's picked 9th and he's doing great things before his injury, in Memphis. So, and everyone was talking about how he's too slow and, hey, he's this guy who plays down low. Does it translate into the NBA? And the answer became, it did, right? And had he not gotten injured, I think we would have been having a very different conversation, maybe even potentially Rookie of the Year type of conversation with him. So I think with Braden Smith, it's similar. His entire career, he's too small, too short. Is he tough enough? He proved all those things in college. Oh, and by the way, he's now the all-time leading scorer, or not scorer, sorry, passer, assist man ever. So you sit back and go, well, there we are. I mean, there are guys that have lived a life proving others wrong, and I think he'll do the same in the NBA. I think Braden Smith could go as high as maybe let's say, late first, early second.
Yeah.
And I think with TKR, I actually believe he will sneak into the draft.
Okay.
But I think he'll be, kind of one of the last guys there.
Yeah.
How tall do you guys think Braden Smith is?
He is, I want to say he's listed at 6 foot. I don't think he's 6 foot.
He is listed at 6 foot, but he had his the official NBA draft combine. What do you think he measured?
I'm going to go 5'10".
And a quarter.
5'10".
And a quarter.
5'10" and a quarter. Because I was like, okay,
that small.
I was
like,
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's not that big.
No, in the NBA, no, it's not.
I mean, that's like the classic.
But the thing about it though is that you look back at the NBA and you think to yourself, there's been at least a proven track record of guys who are shorter, much shorter than him, who have actually made a career out of it, right?
Oh yeah.
And the difference though with him is that he is not a scorer first, and I think that if we were talking about a guy who was only a scorer, then I think I'd be a lot more concerned. But he is a pass-first guy, and not only a pass-first guy, but he understands how to be the engine of a team,
right,
and run a team, and understands how to drive those different factors to make other guys successful.
During the tournament, he didn't come out of the game. I mean, he just doesn't. Like,
and he was diving for loose ball. I mean, here's an All-American doing those things. That was impressive. So
I keep trying to find like comparisons for Braden Smith, and I keep just thinking of like hustle, like the TJ McConnell style.
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, Brunson just won a
he's 6'2".
championship.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like Steve Nash, and he's like he's 6'3".
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I think that's on a good day.
Right.
No, it'll be curious to see how that ends up shaking out.
Here's the deal. I think both of them make an NBA roster better.
I do.
I think that's just the bottom
Really?
line. Yeah,
I think so.
absolutely, 100%.
I think TKR. Remember, we don't think about some of these guys anymore, but think about Karl Malone. Right? I think TKR, and he was up for that award this year, by the way, the Karl Malone Award. But I think that's a very, very fitting comp right there. Is that Karl Malone, I think, was a little bit more athletic than him, and obviously a little bit more built by the end of his career. I would not have liked to have gone up against a guy like that when you think about how big he was, and that was that era too. But to your point, TKR is almost like in a different. He's an era that is a bygone era.
I think he would have just dominated the NBA just 20 years prior, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so true. But I think that now, to your point, he makes an NBA roster, in my opinion, because he makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
And you need a guy that can go out there and rebound, a guy who can defend, a guy who's going to do the things that he does.
Yeah.
Those are indispensable. So I think right now, it seems to me when I watch the NBA, we're starting to see a little bit of a shift in recent years, going back a little bit to where not every guy on the floor needs to be scoring and shooting all the time, but there are guys out there that play roles. And they might not be out there for the entire game, but they're out there in spurts when they need to be out there, and I think TKR fills that role.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I only got 2 more questions for him, Nate.
Well, I want to know, at the end, we got to get the takes. Well, right now, we got to get the takes.
We got to get the takes.
Drafted or not? Braden Smith drafted or not?
I'm
Absolutely.
saying Braden Smith drafted, TKR not, but signs immediately with somebody.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And
He says both.
Do you have a number? Do you I want a Braden Smith number. I want a TKR number.
Okay, I think Braden Smith in the second round somewhere. How many teams are there? 30 or 32?
30, right?
I'll go second
Is there
round.
60 picks total?
There's 60 picks total.
So 30 teams.
Yeah.
All right, Braden Smith, second round, 40th overall pick.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
40th?
40th overall pick.
I don't mind. I'm going to take the under on that. I'm going to say he's going above.
Okay.
I'm going 40 or below.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah. And then
I
you're
think
saying
he thinks late first round, which I love personally.
I think he sneaks into the first round. Although I think it comes down to, or I know it comes down to, the gap that he's going to fill for a team. If a team needs a point guard and a pass first guy, what I believe, there's a lot of chatter right now about Giannis going to over to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about a team like that, they don't need another scorer. They don't need another guy who's going to come in and try to hog the ball, if you will, right? They need a guy who can run that system and distribute.
They need another Peyton Pritchard.
That's right.
There you go.
I think a team like that could use a Braden Smith, right? A guy who come in, does not need to shoot, but can when he needs to, and knock down a 3 when he's open, but then distribute the ball really well. I think that's a place where he could fit in.
I think that's a great call, and I also think he's better. This kind of is like duh, but he's better on like a good established team.
Absolutely,
right?
He's
Does
not
that
the
make
guy.
sense?
Absolutely, he's not the guy that's going to come in and have the burden of what we saw last year with Cooper Flagg, for example, who's expected to come in and like elevate Dallas to a place where all of a sudden he's expected to get them to a place that's I don't know if that's really fair for a guy like that, right?
No.
He's a couple of years away from being that guy. Yeah. But for Braden Smith, he absolutely, you fit him into a system that's established with other guys, he fits in well.
100%.
The ESPN mock draft has him at 38 to the Bulls.
38 to the Bulls. There you go. It's kind of close.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see what happens. All right. Well, I got 2 final ones for you, Matt.
Let's go.
This has been awesome, by the way. This has been a great, great conversation. But for you who didn't grow up in Indiana, several different places, now that you kind of, I would say, are a Hoosier by transplant. Okay.
I think I am. Yeah.
But what do you think makes sports special in Indiana?
I tell people all the time, Indiana, it's so funny. Let me back up for a second. When I came here, I didn't know much about Indiana, right? And when you get outside of Indiana and go to places like Texas or the West Coast, whatever, people think of Indiana as this place of where they don't understand it, right? Yeah. And I always tell people, Indianapolis is the 12th largest city in the country. People forget about that.
Yeah.
You know, here we are 2.5 hours away from Chicago, and multiple hours from Tennessee, Nashville, et cetera, Louisville, Cincinnati. So we are uniquely positioned around all these places that are a little bit more well known for certain things. But Indianapolis, in my opinion, is one of the great sports cities in our country. We just had the Olympic trials here for swimming. We have the Indianapolis 500 here, which is, I believe, still the largest single-day sporting event when it comes to attendance, right? 400,000 people. We just had the Pacers in the final or the finals of the NBA last year, not this season, but the prior season to that. We had the NBA All-Star Game here. I mean, I could go on. We have the Indiana Fever, right, with Caitlin Clark.
Seriously.
I mean, we could go on and on and on, right? And then you have
Final Four.
Indiana just won the football national championship.
Not that long ago, Notre Dame was in the national championship.
Seriously.
Notre Dame. And people forget oftentimes when people are not in Indiana, they think of Notre Dame being in like an East Coast town or
They
city.
do. They really do.
They really do. So, but you look at all this stuff stacked, and you realize that Indiana is an incredible sports. Not only Indianapolis city, but Indiana as a state, right? And when we think about even the Hoosiers as a basketball powerhouse, right? I mean, Bobby Knight and all the things. We just celebrated the 50th anniversary of that undefeated team, right? This year in the Final Four, we actually highlighted them, during one of those events.
Very cool.
So, I mean, we could go on and on and on here, and to realize how much of Indiana is in the consciousness and subconsciousness of sports fans, it's pretty wild.
That's a very good answer.
I have one thing that I have to say before we end the show.
Okay, well, I want you to ask him his hidden gem.
I will
also.
ask him his hidden gem, but guys, I would be remiss if I did not talk about this because we did skip over it in the at the bottom of our thing. We have to talk about the Luke Ellspermann kid.
Okay.
Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
D3 kid going from Wabash.
That's right.
The kid that's going from Wabash to Evansville so freshman year at Wabash, he averaged 16.6 points and he shot 40% from the three. He's going to Evansville as a sophomore. And I just want to plant the seed. Who is the guy from Huntington that went to Evansville that then played for Illinois? Hummerkaus. Ben Hummerkaus. From Tipton, went to Huntington, then down to Evansville, then made it to Illinois, then got into a Final Four.
And played
This
serious
guy,
minutes.
This Luke Ellspermann, I bet Dunk knows who he is. Luke Ellspermann transfers from Wabash to Evansville, which is D1. He is from Memorial High School down in Evansville. 16.6 points, shooting 40% from the three. I think after a season or two in Evansville, we might see this guy on a bigger roster. I'm calling it here in, June of 2026.
You heard it here first, folks.
Clip it,
Matt,
Dunk.
can you...
Well,
going from D3 to D1.
Well, so that's an important point. I actually had that written down as one of the most impressive stories from today. It's one of my favorite stories. Everyone talks about major transfers and all the NIL talks, but we forget about these guys, right? I mean, what an incredible story to be essentially not recruited,
right,
and to go to a D3 school.
Hey, there's still a lot of honor in playing D3 sports.
Oh, yeah, right?
No,
That's true.
absolutely. Absolutely. No shade to that. But when you think about making that jump, what it shows you is that, and this is why people should love this story, and this is why we love sports, is that I had this great, my high school coach used to say this, if you're good enough, they will find you.
Yes.
And that's exactly what's happening here. And I think that although there are negatives with NIL in the transfer portal, this is one of the positives.
Yeah.
Where you can sit back and say, hey, now it opens up the opportunity for anybody to have an opportunity. If you are good enough and you felt, because what happens when you go to D3 schools or NAIA schools, what happens is that what you find out is that a lot of those guys are very good players. They're just an inch or two shorter than the guys who are at the D1 level.
Exactly.
And then you find the same thing, by the way, when you go to the NCAA tournament. Why all of a sudden people ask themselves this, oh my God, why are these Cinderellas doing what they're doing? It's because they're just as good as the big guys. It's just that they're undersized. They have the same skill set. Sometimes they jump as high or higher. They're just a few inches smaller, and they weren't therefore recruited to some of these bigger schools, but they're just as skilled. And there you go.
Dude, I love that. If you're good enough, they will find you. Yeah. Too many people are worried about getting found before they get good.
Or they develop late.
And they develop late.
That can happen
late
too.
bloomer, man. That
Think
happens.
about, you know what my favorite story about that is Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen, yes.
Think about where he played. And he did not play at a major school, and then he became one of the greatest players ever in the NBA history. My favorite recent one is Bennett Sturts over at Iowa.
I thought that's who you were talking about too. But I don't think he was D3, but watching him with Ben McCollum just tear up D2 and then come, and now he's a top 5 draft prospect, top 5, 7, 10, something like that. Just really impressive stuff.
It is impressive, and that's what gives me. Those are the positives that I hope we focus on. Moving forward is how that can give an opportunity and a platform to players who otherwise would not have one.
Exactly. I do think stuff like that makes me feel like the intent was good behind a lot of what's going on in college. But there's just people who make you warp it and make it not great.
Well, whenever you involve that kind of money, inevitably, guess what's going to happen?
I mean, look at Texas Tech.
Suits.
But anyway. Okay, Matt, last thing for me, and then I'll let Spangle take us home. But what would you give or what would you do for Purdue to win a championship?
What would I give?
What would you do?
I mean, how much does that mean to you, I guess?
Ooh, good question. I think that... Well, what does it do for me personally, or
like what would you do? Like the classic story, like, oh man, I'd cut off my pinky toe.
I got you.
Like what would you do for a Purdue national championship?
Yeah.
See, I look at it differently. For me, they've accomplished so much that I
Salt of the earth guy.
Yeah, that's true. We love it.
No, but I think at the end of the day, we're not talking about a program that isn't already accomplishing great things. So for me, I actually would answer it this way. I think I would give quite a lot to see them actually be successful this year for Coach Painter's sake, to show that this program is successful even without those guys who have been leading the helm, because that to me would prove out a lot of what's wrong with college basketball.
Yeah. And that it's bigger than any one of them.
Yeah, and that can work.
That can work still.
Yes.
That to me is the bigger story, is what can he do with this group that's coming in right now and coming in after these guys who have left, who have been the staple for the last, not only 4 but 5 years. To me, that's the bigger story. But yeah, I would give a lot to see that happen.
All right. I love it. We'll take it home with the final question. This is your opportunity to shed some light on a part of the state that more people need to be talking about. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
That's his question.
It always gets them. It always gets them.
It always gets them. I spent a lot of time in Kokomo. And I think that there's a lot of interesting things happening up there. We used to have the car plants that unfortunately have kind of ebb and flowed over the years, but there's a lot of interesting things happening up there with the EV plants that are being built.
Oh.
Yeah. Billions of dollars are being invested into that area. They're revamping that downtown. We were talking about one of the guys, we didn't highlight him here today, but there's a guy from Kokomo who, is now going to be playing at Louisville after transferring.
Flory.
Yeah. So there's some sports history there, and there's a lot of things happening where I think they're going to be kind of the next up and coming. We talk about Lebanon right now, what's happening with the Leap District up there, but I think Kokomo is someone that we should be talking about.
I've heard that.
K-Town.
Yeah.
Shout out Blaine Brutus.
Yes. Man, this has been awesome. Seriously. Really appreciate your insight.
Yeah,
just
thanks
on
for
all
having
things basketball. And
we should do it again.
We should. I want to get more into growing up in Latin America. Actually.
I mean, we got to get into this big dating show.
Yeah, what's
debacle.
that show?
Well, just wait. We're gonna do like a live reacts if they ever air the episode.
Well, the rumor is that it will.
Ooh.
But yeah, so looking forward to that. But yeah, in the meantime, would love to come back, talk all things sports, and continue to talk basketball.
That's awesome. Matt Carroll, really appreciate your time. Go
Thank you.
Boilers. We'll see if season 22 is released of this dating show. We don't. What's it called? We don't know.
No.
Awesome.
Back to you with the weather.
Nate Spangle, Matt Carroll, Dominic Miranda. This is Get In Sports. We'll be right back. Hey, let's look ahead to the 2026 IHSAA Baseball State Finals going on this weekend at Victory Field. The Vic, one of the best hosts. I said it off the top. Indiana does state championships so incredibly well. Victory Field, an awesome host for the Baseball State Finals. We got some great matchups in all 4 classes. Shane Ryder joining us with a preview. Shane, let's talk about these matchups. And I want to start in Class 3A because Andrean, one of the big-time baseball powerhouses in the state.
Yeah, they basically have like part-time ownership, I think, of Victory Field or part-time real estate. They are making their state record 12th appearance since 2004 at the Vic.
Wow.
So I think that's you take out COVID year, it's like 22 seasons, and they've been there 12 times. So over half the time they're there in the 3A final, just ready to usually take out whoever their opponent is. They've won 9 of those previous 11 times, making it downtown. So they're no stranger. They are 30-3 this season. Couple of top 10 wins in the postseason, knocked out number 10 New Prairie, number 5 DeKalb. And they've just got a resume that not really any other program in the state can match. Maybe one in Class 1A that we'll get to later on that actually didn't make it this year. They got knocked out in semi-state. But really, there's only one other school that has been downtown, been in this moment, fighting for a trophy to cap a school year and send some seniors off happy.
That is impressive. Andrean, growing up, it was always Andrean this, Andrean that. They have a very proud tradition. Should be very, very impressed, particularly post-2000, it looks like. So very recent in the last 2 decades. So great stuff out of the region. Guerin Catholic making its first trip to the baseball state finals. So some Indy flavor. Guerin Catholic having a great sports year, too. Won the boys soccer state championship. But do they have a chance here?
I would give them a fighting chance, and I'll tell you why. They've got a pitcher going to Alabama, Tate Troxell, threw a shutout, 9 strikeouts in the semi-state semis against number 12 Providence. He's going to Bama. They've also got 3 other D1 commits in their lineup. You go top down, Ian Taylor's going to George Mason. He's got 9 homers, an OBP close to 600. Carson Kale heading to Dayton. He's a catcher. He's batting .432 to lead the team. Wow. And Ben Canada going Big Ten baseball, Northwestern. He's got a team high 37 hits. So they have the star power that if anyone was going to take out a juggernaut or a dynasty-like team or program like Andrean, I think this Guerin Catholic team, the Golden Eagles, they got a chance.
Wow, that is supremely impressive. Tate Troxell, look, if you're going to SEC baseball country,
the real deal
out of Indiana,
Bama's in the College World Series. They just got bounced, but
hey,
top 8. Yes,
that is awesome. Awesome stuff. Well, good luck to both Andrean and Guerin Catholic. Let's dip down to Class 1A. Shane mentioned it just a little bit. We got Kouts and Northeast Dubois. The Jeeps. Is that their name?
Yeah,
or is
that's
that
one
their
of Nate's.
mascot?
That's one of Nate's favorite mascots.
The Jeeps. I love it. Okay.
He'd have the full history of it for sure.
I'm sure he would. All right, but it looks like Kouts is 31-1. What do you make of this matchup?
They are making a repeat appearance in the 1A final. They finished runner-up last year to Indianapolis Lutheran, lost 13-1. Then actually started this season their only loss. They started 0-1.
Yeah.
They lost to Guerin Catholic, who we just talked about. Yeah. So you've got the 3A finalist, Guerin Catholic, handing a 1A finalist and state runner-up from 2025, the Kouts Mustangs, their only loss of the season. So you start a season with a loss, you're 31-1. What's that add up to? 31 straight wins.
That is correct.
They're hot, to say the least. They're rolling. Yeah. And this postseason, they've really just carried over the momentum of, what would that have been, 25 straight wins to cap the regular season. In 6 games, they've outscored opponents 60-6. Wow. So they're not just winning, they are bludgeoning teams. A couple of top 10 wins in the playoffs over Morgan Township. They were number 7, number 10 Rossville as well. And they've actually got a sophomore sensation that does a little bit of everything. Billy Miller is his name.
Billy Miller.
He leads the team in basically every offensive category, and he's a heck of a pitcher too. A 0.42 ERA, 3 earned runs in 49 2/3 innings pitched, and 83 strikeouts. Oh. So Billy Miller can hit, he can run, and he can pitch.
That is.
I'm curious to see how they'll use him. He's their weapon, and this is typically, the case in Class 1A a lot of times in the small schools. If you've got an athlete or two that is just a stud and would be probably a star player on one of the larger class teams, if you plug them into a 1A lineup or a 1A roster, you can ride their coattails all the way to the finish line.
Paging Jack Kaiser, right? That's awesome. Billy Miller. That is
just
such
a good old
Indiana name.
Great baseball name.
Also, just like, I remember old Billy Miller back in 2026. That's awesome. But hey, Northeast Dubois, the Jeeps, also, just like Guerin Catholic, making their first trip to the baseball state finals. I love stories like this, kind of David and Goliath almost, but they're here for a reason. Seems like they got a fighter's chance as well here in the Class 1A state finals.
They do. They're trying to bring home not just a baseball state title, but the first state title in school history. So they have a lot on their shoulders going into that game on Friday night, but they are 23-5. They've knocked out 3 top 15 teams, Shakamak and regionals, and then in semi-state, both Greenwood Christian Academy and Hauser, number 13 and 11 programs in Class 1A. They've got a guy, you got Billy Miller on one side, Sam Beck. Sam Beck is the name to watch. He's a junior, hitting 470, 7 bombs. So that's what Northeast Dubois is riding.
1 out of every 2 times he gets a hit at the plate, essentially.
That's not bad.
That's just not bad.
That'll play.
That's going to do well. All right, Kouts and Northeast Dubois Jeeps. All right, the 3A state championship, 4:30 on Friday. 1A state championship, 8 p.m. on Friday. I'd love to play under the lights as a high schooler.
And that's what Victory Field, when I was there, that's what we talked about most when we were hosting. Like, we got the IHSAA crew in the press box and the radio in one booth and TV in another, and all you talk about is, like, not every one of these guys is going on to play college ball, or not everyone is going to go on to the minors or the big leagues. And so this is their major league moment. They get to play on a AAA baseball field in the heart of downtown Indy with the skyline behind it. The lights are on. You are the star. In communities rally. It's so fun to see Victory Field pack out, whether it's a historic program like Andrean and they're traveling down 65 every other year, or you've got like legacy schools like Jasper, Scott Rowland playing there back in the early 90s, Mr. Baseball, and going on to a Hall of Fame career. So you have just these schools that live and die by the success of their athletics, and baseball carries a lot of these schools that are here, and then the first timers too. That's fun. It's like, man, we've never been here before. What's this all about? And they get to come down and see Victory Field. Just
like you said, I mean, Indiana just does it so well, and they put the high school athletes first, student athletes first, and it's a credit to the IHSAA. And they do so. I mean, you've been to state championships. Like, it's so well run. Also, it impresses me every time at the football state championships, basketball state championships, baseball, softball, swimming, whatever. It's so impressive. So kudos, tip of the cap. Let's talk 2A state championship. Evansville Modern Day versus Bluffton. I mean, look, when you're talking Southern Indiana, Evansville, man, they got a proud tradition of sports down there. And I know every time they're going up against Indy schools or anyone like that, or just representing Evansville, it's a big deal. All right. So Evansville Modern Day, number 1 here in Class 2A. What do we think about this, Shane?
This is one of those David versus Goliath matchups. Okay. Modern Day is 29-3. They're making a second straight trip to the 2A final, finished as runner-up last year. They've been there 6 times previously. They've only won once. Way back in 1999, they beat Jimtown in Class 2A. But this year's team is looking to join that championship team from, 27 years ago. They've won 16 straight games in semi-state. They took out number 9 University in the semis, then outlasted number 11 Sullivan in a thriller. They needed 9 innings to complete that one, but the Wildcats won 5-2. And now they come and meet Bluffton. And I go to Bluffton here. This is, of all 8 participants through all 4 games, they are in a true Cinderella run. Okay. And that's what's fun, is that whatever you do in the postseason, everyone gets into the bracket. It's just like everyone's in. It's not like you got to finish in the top 4 in your conference or district or whatever it is. It's just like, hey, you're in. And it's a clean slate. Forget what happened in the regular season. Well, they started the season 6-6. They dropped their last 3 games in the regular season. So they roll in with, I would just say, about 0 momentum. I mean, their tails between their legs, wondering what's going on. And now the Tigers have won, 5 straight in the playoffs, 3 by shutout. They beat 1A power Lafayette Central Catholic when we talked about Andrean earlier. 9 state titles. The only other school that can say they have that amount in Indiana history is Lafayette Central Catholic. Wow. They beat them at semi-state. Okay. So that's a monumental win. And then they've got a couple of guys, Griffin Morgan and Junior Axton Axton Best, I'm going to say. They've got to combine 18 home runs. So they've got a powerful lineup. Bluffton is up just south of Fort Wayne. So you've got a little Evansville-Fort Wayne rivalry, I guess, if you want to call it that, meeting in the middle in Indianapolis. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, I love this. David and Goliath, Evansville, Mater Dei, Bluffton. I got a soft spot for Bluffton right now after hearing that. That is some good stuff. All right, and then the biggest class in the state of Indiana, 8 p.m. under the lights Saturday, Bloomington South versus Lake Central. We got Southern Indiana and Bloomington against the region. That's good stuff right there. All right, Bloomington South, third state finals appearance. First since 1972.
It's been a minute.
Okay.
72 and 1969 was the other one.
The Panthers, can they get it done, Shane?
I believe they can. This is not like we've got two of the top, let's just say top 4 or 6 teams. Bloomington South is ranked number 10. Lake Central comes in unranked. The last poll in late May, they weren't in the top 15 in Class 4A, which is a pretty incredible run for them as well.
4A is tough.
4A is tough. It's deep. There's a lot of talent, a lot of kids that are going on to play at D1, D2. And if a pitcher has an off night, or if a guy going maybe D2 just shows up one night, shuts a lineup down, you can win 1-0. And Bloomington South did just that. I'll get to this in a moment, but they're 25-6. They've won 9 straight. And the 1-0 victory came in the semi-state final. They knocked out number 3 Evansville North. Crazy thing about this, they didn't have a hit.
They didn't have a hit.
They got no hit, and they won 1-0.
They got no hit?
Yep.
How did they score their run, I might ask?
They got their only run. First 2 guys in the 4th inning retired. They were facing a pitcher that's heading to IU, so it wasn't like they were facing a slouch.
Right.
And so they got a 2-out walk, and then a ground ball to third, thrown wildly past first, and a pinch runner scored all the way from first.
No.
Yeah, play at the plate, beat the throw to the plate, and 2 pitchers, Xavier Hemingway, a senior, and fellow senior Tyler Morris, a 4-out save to win it 1-0. So that's like,
I love baseball.
Yeah,
I love baseball so much, Shane. This is so awesome. All right, Lake Central making their 3rd trip to the 4A state title. Pretty successful here recently. Just won 2 years ago, and then in 2012 as well, 2 state championships in the last 15 years, we'll call it. Let's see what they can do. Again, 4A, tough. I imagine this might be a low-scoring affair.
Yeah, I would think so. The Indians are 27-8. The cool thing about this is that just this past weekend, Lake Central softball took home a title.
That is
so
correct.
you could just double down on the diamond.
Talked about it in the open.
Let's bring home a couple of trophies to finish the school year. That'd be a lot of fun for them. Their road to victory field, they had some serious mention that they were unranked. They had to earn their way here. I mean, it wasn't like they just had a cakewalk to the finals. They beat number 5 Munster and Crown Point in sectionals.
Yeah.
So 2 top 5 teams. And then number 15 Goshen in regionals and number 7 Penn at semi-state.
That's what I'm talking
about. So 4
about.
top 15 wins. It's like, hey, you want to show up? You want to go to victory field? Well, take out boom, 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 boom. All the way through the postseason.
When you're talking 4A and Northern Indiana, especially, I mean, you're talking Munster, Crown Point, and then Penn and
Penn is like a regular. I mean, they make it to the finals frequently in the biggest class.
To say nothing of the Fort Wayne schools as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just really impressive stuff out of both these teams. So we'll see what happens. Here's the rundown. Shane, great work on this preview. This is awesome. But who's going to do it? Andrean, we got the powerhouse, the dynasty, win a 4th back-to-back title and record 10 Gino Auriemma status championships. Or can Garrett Catholic win their first ever state championship? Can Northeast Dubois win their first ever state championship? Or does Kouts have a 30-plus win streak to get it done? Bluffton Cinderella story against Evansville Mater Dei, and then Bloomington South and Lake Central. Bloomington South probably will never forget that semi-state game. But you know what would help me forget that semi-state game is winning a state championship. I'd forget about that pretty quick. Really awesome stuff, Shane. Thank you so much. But
if there's one game you want to attend,
yes,
it's the one that leads off on Friday.
You think so?
Number 1 versus number 2.
Yeah, that is
and
awesome.
If you've got like the the dynasty of Andrean and the
Yeah.
59ers. Like, hey, we've been here. We win pretty much every time we show up. Oh, you've got to face Alabama commit Tate
I was just
Troxell
gonna
and
say
3 other D1
you have
guys in the lineup.
You have the dynasty, okay, but
Versus
the
the
other
first-timer.
team has like 4 D1 players.
Yeah.
And your starting pitcher's going to Bama.
It's going to be a heck of a matchup.
That's awesome. All right. Well, on that note, Shane, I think we have some IHSAA baseball state finals trivia to take us home here for this podcast episode. Am I correct on that?
You are.
I have
you are
no
accurate.
notes. I have not looked at this. Okay. I really haven't. But I have a good hints after this preview.
Yes.
So,
you should be able to pull a few schools, I
couple.
think, after the preview.
All right. Let's hear it.
And here's what I've got for you. We're going to see if you can name the 9 schools that have won at least 3 baseball state championships since 2000.
9 schools have won 3 or more state championships post 2000.
Yep.
Who are they? So we have 26 years, 9 schools.
You
All
can
right.
do this.
Well, in our talk, and just like growing up, there's 2 schools growing up in the state of Indiana, understanding baseball that are baseball powerhouses. So I have a feeling I can get 2 off the bat. We're going to go Andrean
Boom.
and Jasper.
Boom. Oh, you got, okay. Andrean has 9.
Okay.
Jasper has 3.
Okay.
They won it in 2000 in 3A title in 2006, and then 2021 in Class 4A over Fishers.
Home of Scott Rowland. Okay. You have to include Jasper. All right. So there's 2. Per our preview, we're going to go to Lafayette Central Catholic.
You got it. They're
Okay.
the other school with 9.
Yes, that's correct. We did just talk about that. So that's called memory, folks. Okay, there's 3.
There's 3.
Okay. Also, growing up in northern Indiana, I have a fair amount of confidence since I was born in 1997. So most of my life has been post 2000. I'm going to go with the Penn Kingsmen.
Got it. They've got 4, 2001, 15, 22, and 23 back-to-back titles in 4A.
Okay, we're cooking with gas right now. 4 out of 9. Am I right on that?
Yes. So you've got another one with 4 titles, and then the other 4 schools you need to get all have 3. So you've knocked out the heavyweights.
Heavyweights.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. All right. I'm going to Fort Wayne feels like not a bad area to guess.
There's a Fort Wayne school. Yes.
There is just one?
Do you know?
There's just one Fort Wayne school? Are there multiple Fort Wayne schools? Because I'll roll through them right now. I'm just going to roll through them. I'm going to go with...
Small school.
Small school.
Small school. Private.
Not Lures.
No.
How about Fort Wayne Snyder?
Mm-mm.
That's not a small school.
No, that's big. That's a large.
How about the Fighting Caleb Firsts? How about Blackhawk Christian?
Bang.
Yeah. All right.
2002, 2005, and 2006 in Class 1A.
I don't think he played baseball, but that's okay. Is that the only Fort Wayne school?
That at least has Fort Wayne in the name, yes.
I was going to go Carroll.
Mm-mm.
No Carroll.
No,
Carroll.
No, I don't believe any other.
Okay. Back to the drawing board here. We got 5 of 9.
You've got.
Well, let's go close to home here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, off the top of my head, athletic prowess. How about Cathedral?
Very good.
Really?
Yes. 2001,
Spangle's
2007, and 2017.
Okay.
1 in 3A and 2 in Class 4A.
Okay. Wow.
You're doing very good. You have 3 left.
Okay, 3 left. Let's go area that stays. Is there more Indianapolis here, or no more Indianapolis?
No more Indianapolis.
Okay, 3 left.
You've got 1, or actually 2 of them exclusively in Class 2A.
Okay.
And then 1 exclusively in Class 3A.
Okay. What areas of the state? Help me out.
I knew you were going to ask me that. Let's see.
Do I know these high schools? Are they known?
One just won it 2 years ago, and actually had been, I would say, a state finalist a couple of other times. Also won it in 2021 in Class 2A.
Okay.
Let me.
2A, 3A.
Southern Indiana. This is a college in the Big East.
Providence.
Yeah.
Providence. Oh, I knew that. Come on, Dom. Okay.
was a great
I like
hint.
that. That was okay. Thank you. See, okay.
All right,
That was a great hint. Is it just because I'm looking at a map here? Is it South Spencer High School?
Yes, it is.
Oh, no way. What?
South
See, okay,
Spencer.
I would not have. This is okay. These last three, these are niche, man. This is good.
I'm curious to know. You'd really have to do some research, but like the coaching, all these head coaches at these Southern Indiana schools,
Yeah.
they always have multiple representatives coming downtown. Like
Really?
it's not just like the Metro dominates,
Right.
and
No,
it's a
correct.
bunch of indie schools. Like Southern Indiana
Totally
and
agree.
baseball,
Yeah.
like for whatever reason, and they produce Don Mattingly, Scott Rowland, we mentioned him earlier. Like there's big league stars
Yeah.
that come out of Southern Indiana. And so you've got Mater Dei as a finalist this year, South Spencer with some history.
Totally
That's-
agree,
that's-
man. It's impressive.
So I just wonder if there's like alumni from those programs that they stay in Southern Indiana and then they start coaching somewhere and they just turn insert small school into a power.
Right. Very impressive. All right, one more to go.
One more. The biggest Cinderella.
So by Bluffton.
Yep. The school name is it's not the town or the community that it's.
Is it in Yoder, Indiana?
They had, this is where Jared Parker, you know that name? Pitcher,
Yeah.
big leaguer.
Yeah.
That's where he played. He was on the 2007 team. And actually, I remember when I was down at Victory Field with the Indians and a player had come through that played Norwell in the state championship in 07. And he's like,
Is
had
it
to fa-
Norwell?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
you
gave it to
said
There you go.
Norwell. Oh, I
So he's like,
knew that.
he's like, we had to play Norwell.
What?
You could have done
Josh
that.
Van Meter went there
Yeah,
as
yes,
well.
that's
we
who it
played
was.
him. Oh my word, that is embarrassing.
Yes.
I knew
Van
that.
Meter played for the Indians. I forget.
Oh,
I want to say it was.
on.
I want to say it was Hunter Owen. I'm
Or,
gonna
it's
look at
Hunter
that quick.
something. Yes.
Well, I'm gonna look at who they played in the 2007 final.
Dude, I knew that. That's so
I want to
frustrating.
say it was Mater Dei. It
All right,
was.
but it was Mater Dei.
Yeah. So it was
All right.
Hunter Owen
Yes.
played at
Yes.
Mater Dei. Was on the Indians team for like 4 seasons, something like that.
Okay.
And we had talked about whether it was Mater Dei and made a repeat appearance downtown, and he's like wishing them luck or whatever it was. But I'm like, did you play in the state final? He's like, yeah. We had to face Jared Parker. He was throwing like 97
Some, yeah.
from the left side. Like he had a decent big league
Yeah,
career.
you're not hitting that.
No.
Norwell, South Spencer, Providence, Andrean, Penn, Fort Wayne, Blackhawk Christian, Jasper.
2 more.
Why is my recall failing me at this moment now?
1 Indy school.
Lafayette Central Catholic and Cathedral.
There you go.
Those are your 9 state champions who've won 3 or more post 2000. That was excellent. Really enjoyed that. Shane Ryder, everybody. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for listening, watching, however you're tuning in. We appreciate you. Get in Sports is off and running this summer. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, Dom Miranda TV, on TikTok and Twitter. There's a lot of ways to get, and we're growing. We're growing fast, everybody. Get on
a
board
rocket
now
ship.
or get off the tracks, all right? All right, we'll see you next time. I can only imagine how much Braden Smith turned down in NIL.
There are rumors of multiple millions.
Why are Braden Smith and TKR working out for the Pacers?
You know, people in comments saying, "Oh, they should fire Matt Payne." But what are you hoping for?
Let's look ahead to the 2026 IHSAA Baseball State Finals.
31-1. What's that add up to? 31 straight wins.
Correct.
They're hot. They got no hit and they won 1-0. Not everyone is going to go on to the big leagues. So this is their major league moment.
Why are Braden Smith and TKR working out for the Pacers?